Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to study poem number 19, A Man of Words and Not of Deeds. This poem was written by Charles Perrault. He is a modern poet translated by Robert Semba. Charles Perrault was a French poet and author. He laid the foundation for new literary era. This word is pronounced as era, not genre. The fairy tale Perrault was an influential figure in 17th century and was the leader of the modern fiction. He is known as the leader of the modern fiction. Some of his best known fairy tales are Little Red Riding Hood. This is one of his tales. Cinderella, The Sleeping Beauty, Blue Bird. These are his famous tales, his famous short stories. Now we come to the synonyms of the poem. Deeds, actions, work, activity. Weeds, hobs, grass, husk, roar, yell, cry, shout. Smart, sting, bite, pain, trouble, difficulty. Theme of the poem is this, that a man who always talks and boasts and is not involved in any deed, in any activity, is like a garden full of weeds. And when it is once grown, it further aggravates the situation like snow in winter. Life passes through different phases and untimely comes to an end with the death of the person. It is therefore necessary that a man always engages himself in some fruitful activity, in some useful activity to make the life pleasant and useful for humanity. This was the theme of the poem. Now we study the textual lines, the textual lines of the poem. A man of words and not of deed is like a garden full of weeds. A person who only talks, who only communicates, who only conversates, and he does not do any activity, he is not performing practically any activity, any work, any phenomena. He is like a garden which is full of herbs, which is full of weeds. Here is use of simile. A person is comparing with garden. There are plants in the garden. There are fruit plants. For example, if the garden is of mangoes, of the grapes, of the apples, of the oranges, whatsoever the garden is, there are trees but not fruits. So a person who is not practical, who does not work physically or mentally, only he talks, only he discusses the trivial issues, is like a garden. There are plants, there are trees, but there are no fruits. Just like the garden is full of weeds, garden full of herbs. And when the weeds begin to grow, it is like a garden full of snow. So the modern man, the man who is empty-minded, man who is empty soul, who is not worthy living individual, who does not give benefits, who does not give advantages to the society, he only talks, is like a garden when weeds grow, when garden is full of weeds, when weeds grown up, when weeds became a full tree, then this garden is covered. This garden has been covered by the snow that falls on the garden. So when garden is full of snow, then it will not produce any productivity, then it will not produce any fruitful things, fruitful. It will not be fruitful, it will be useless, it will be fruitless. So is the case. Actually, the poet wants to convey us message. The poet wants to give us message that the modern man, the man who is very talkative, the man who is very conservative, the man who is communicative, not practical, will be one day die a natural death, but he will be in loss. And when the snow begins to fall, when the snow began to fall on the garden, it is like a bird upon the wall. It looks, the color of the snow is white. White color is when white color is covered, or white color covers the garden. It looks like a bird that is sitting on the wall. Same is the case of the garden. So in this line, personification is being used. Personification to give the quality of non-living things to a living thing. As the snow is compared, as snow is given the quality of bird. Bird is living thing. Bird can fly, bird can move, but snow cannot move. Snow is non-living thing. So बर्फबारी को वो परिंदे से तशबीह दे रहा है. तो here is personification, use of personification. It is a literary term in literature. So it is like a bird upon the wall. As the bird sits on the wall, same is the condition of the snow in the garden, the snow that has covered the garden. And when the bird away does fly, and when birds fly from the wall, it is like an eagle in the sky. So it looks like eagle is, once I told you that eagle is the king of birds. As you know, lion or tiger is the king of the animals of the jungle, animal of the forest. So eagle is the king of birds. Eagle is very powerful bird. It flies against in the opposite direction, in the opposite direction of the wind of the ear. It is very powerful one. It comes flying from the high heaven, from the atmosphere, and digs in the deep sea and catches the fish, its prey, and eats it and enjoys it. It's a very powerful bird. So he is comparing the snow with the bird, with the eagle. As snow melts, and when the bird away does fly, when the bird is, that time snow was compared with the bird. So bird flies and it looks like eagle. Eagle is also symbol of power. Eagle is also symbol of bravery, valianity, and valor. Eagle is symbol of valor, symbol of power, symbol of bravery. So in next line, and when the sky begins to roar, it is like a lion at the door. As it is a common thing, as it is commonly known, when clouds thunder in the sky, the sky roars. So when the sky roars, it looks like that a lion is also vigorous. Lion is also vigorous. I also told you, lion is king of the animals. It looks like when the thunder. When the clouds thunder, it looks that the lion is at our doorstep. The lion is knocking at the door. It looks as. So what happens? And when the door begins to crack, and when the door began to knock, when the lion is at the door, all the poem is imaginary based. It is like a stick across your back. It looks, when the lion is knocking at the door, it looks that someone is beating us with a stick on our back. And when back began to smart, and when we feel pain in our backside because someone is beating us, someone is beating on our back, and we feel pain, we feel trouble, we feel rather difficulty, it is like a pen knife in your heart. It looks that a small knife has been stamped in our heart. When someone is stamped in the heart by a knife, it is impossible to survive. Someone dies. And when your heart begins to bleed, and when it bleeds in the heart by stamping a knife, you are dead, and you are dead, and you are dead indeed. But says that you are dead. From garden full of weeds to death of the living organism, there is a connection, there is a link, there is series of links between this thing. A person, a living organism dies when he is soulless, when he is heartless, when he is senseless. Same is the case of the modern man. Same is the case of the man who is a talkative, who is not practical man. This was the poem I briefed you in your presence. Now we came to the exercise. Only two questions are here. Question number 2 and question number 3. How does the life of man passes through different phases? Yes. A man who is talkative and not practical, his life passes from a garden which is full of weeds. Sometimes his life is like clouds in the sky. Sometimes his life is like a bald. Sometimes his life is like a snow that has covered the garden. He passes from different stages, and that are useless. These are the fruitless phases of the things. A bald eagle, sometimes he looks like eagle, his life passes through the phase of eagle. Sometimes his life passes through the phase of lion. All these things are not useful. They are free in their lifestyle. Question number 3. What happens when life is spent with the help of words and not of deeds? What happens? That lives which is spent with the help of words and not of deeds is fruitless, is worthless, is useless life. It is not good life. It is an idle life. It is a lazy life. It has no significance in the society. So this is the sluggish life that you are spending just by speaking, just by talking, just by communicating and not doing practical activities. 2 short questions and theme explanation of the poem of the stanza is asked in the examination. You will have to write first reference, name of poet and name of poem. Then in context you will write the central idea, the theme of the poem. The context is actually the theme of the poem, the central idea of the poem you will write. And in explanation you will have to write the explanation of the given lines which are given. This was our 19 poem number 19. Our last poem is remaining, inshallah. In next lecture we will study the 20th poem number 20, inshallah. Goodbye.